a predator's playground, inside the scandal at King Charles's old school. That same man now sits as king, and his cold, creepy behavior toward Princess Charlotte has people furious. Instead of warmth, she gets scolded, brushed aside, and treated like a nuisance. The clips show it, her body language proves it, and every time it happens, William's anger explodes because he's sick of watching his daughter crushed under Charles's toxic rules. People still replay the clips of King Charles with Princess Charlotte, and every time the same reaction comes up. Something about it looks wrong. The stares, the stiffness, the way she shrinks when the camera pans to her side. To many viewers, it doesn't come across as family warmth at all. It comes across as cold, creepy, and controlling. And here's where it gets more disturbing. At moments when you'd expect a grandfather to comfort a little girl, a hand on the shoulder, a smile, some reassurance, Charles's gestures don't read as gentle. They look like stage management. His hand resting on her shoulder isn't affection, it's control. His glances don't radiate kindness, they radiate judgment. People online have called it chilling, because Charlotte's body language says everything. She stiffens, her smile fades, she looks scared rather than safe. Even worse, Charlotte's natural reactions are silenced under Charles's gaze. Think about the Queen's funeral. She cried out, "Ow," when George pinched her. Did she get comfort? Number. She got scolded, whispered about, and treated like a distraction. Lip readers exposed Camilla telling Kate to take her. And Charles, the figure at the center, didn't move. He didn't react. To the world, it looked like composure. To anyone watching closely, it looked like a child being brushed off by the very man who should have protected her. These aren't isolated snapshots. They're part of a pattern. At Trooping the Color 2023, Charlotte didn't look like she was enjoying the spectacle. She looked like she was monitoring herself, keeping her brother Louis in line with a sharp "stop it," while she sat perfectly still. That's not a child having fun. That's a child playing the role she's been forced into. And Charles is the architect of that robotic system. People say children show the truth through their bodies, and Charlotte's body tells the story of pressure, fear, and bottled-up rebellion. Around her cousin Mia Tyndall, she's wild, free, playful. Around William and Catherine, she beams. But around Charles, she shrinks, she hardens, she looks uneasy. That shift alone screams that something isn't right. And when you line up those clips, it's impossible not to see it. And here's where Diana's warnings echo the loudest. She told the world about the freaky culture inside the monarchy, about how image always came before humanity, about how the family demanded robotic obedience instead of love. She knew it broke people down. And now Charlotte, her granddaughter, is showing those same signs Diana feared. A child too young to process it, too old to ignore it. The rehook here leaves people unsettled. This is abuse, even if it doesn't leave bruises. It's emotional abuse, it's psychological abuse, it's abuse of childhood itself. Forcing kids into stiff roles, ignoring their pain, brushing them off like props. It's abuse dressed up in tradition. And Charles, with his cold stares and rigid rules, is the face of it all. And William? He sees it. His fury at the Oprah fallout showed just how protective he is. Reports say he lost his appetite in the days before it aired because he was so livid about his family being dragged. And now, when it's Charlotte who suffers under Charles's coldness, that anger boils over tenfold. Every creepy glance, every cold dismissal, every forced wave his daughter gives makes William lose it inside. Because unlike Charles, he doesn't see her as a royal symbol. He sees her as his child. So when people ask, is this really happening? The answer is right in front of them. The clips are there, the stares are there, the body language is there. Charlotte's hidden rebellion isn't random mischief. It's a child's cry against the suffocating control Charles represents. And while some call it tradition, others are calling it what it really is: abuse of childhood freedom, written all over a little girl's face. The signs of abuse aren't new. They've played out before with William and Harry, and now we're seeing them repeat with Charlotte. Look closely. The stiff posture, the nervous glances, the way she shuts down under Charles's gaze. That's not normal childhood behavior. It's conditioning. William himself once admitted to feeling trapped in this system, and Harry spoke about the coldness that scarred him for life. Now Charlotte is living that same nightmare in public view. The cycle hasn't been broken. It's being passed down, and the cameras have caught it all over again. The truth is, Charlotte's defiance isn't mischief. It's an alarm bell. Every time she pushes back with a tongue-out moment or an ow that's brushed off, she's showing the world she's not okay with being trapped in Charles's robotic kingdom. And while kids her age should be worried about school, friends, and playground games, Charlotte's stuck dodging the emotional weight of royal expectations. What makes it worse is how the palace spins it. They love painting these moments as adorable antics, cheeky Charlotte, playful Charlotte, funny Charlotte. But when you peel it back, it's not just cute, it's survival. That's what happens when your granddad represents suffocating control rather than comfort. She lashes out the only way she knows how, and you can't ignore the symbolism. The King's Cup wasn't just a regatta, it was Charles's kingdom on display. Formal, controlled, stiff. And in the middle of it all, Charlotte cut right through with one gesture, mocking everything Charles stood for. Whether intentional or not, it was rebellion wrapped in a child's cheekiness, and it spoke louder than Charles's years of robotic speeches ever could. What should really scare people is how early this starts. Charlotte was just 4 when she pulled that tongue stunt. 4 years old and already cracking under the weight of royal image management. That's not natural. That's not childhood. That's what happens when your environment prioritizes protocol over play. And Charles as king is the face of that toxic structure. Even more telling, the funeral moment wasn't just about George pinching his sister. Siblings fight. That's normal. What wasn't normal was how the adults handled it. Instead of comfort, Charlotte was scolded. Instead of empathy, she was repositioned like a chess piece. And who set the tone? The man at the center of it all, Charles, with his cold, strict demeanor casting a shadow over the entire event. And here's the painful irony. Charlotte shines the brightest when she's away from Charles's shadow. Around cousin Mia Tyndall, she's reportedly a wild child, full of energy and fun. Around William, she shows confidence. Around Catherine, she beams. But when Charles is in the picture, it's protocol, stiffness, and pressure. Her small acts of rebellion are the cracks in that cold system. What's even worse is how the palace demands silence. If Charlotte acts out, it's brushed off as mischief. If she looks upset, it's ignored. The message is clear. Appearances come first. And while Charles gets praised for duty and stability, the reality is he's suffocating the childhood right out of his granddaughter. And William knows it. That's why his reactions stand out. Protective father, furious son, frustrated heir. He sees what Charles is doing, or not doing, and he can't stand it. Losing it isn't just about rage. It's about watching your daughter shrink under the weight of robotic rules passed down by a man too cold to notice. So let's stop pretending Charlotte's antics are just cute. They're rebellion, frustration, survival. They're a child's way of saying, I'm not okay with this. And every time, the shadow looming over her is Charles, the cold, stiff, protocol-obsessed king who doesn't know how to comfort his granddaughter, but somehow knows how to turn her into a symbol for his monarchy. You know what really shows how twisted this royal setup is? The fact that even the kids aren't allowed to just be kids. Every wave rehearsed, every bow calculated, every smile monitored like they're little robots on parade. For Charlotte, that's not tradition. It's punishment dressed up in royal language. And here's where it gets worse. The only times we see the real Charlotte, the loud, cheeky, confident Charlotte, is when she's away from that bubble. Around cousin Mia Tyndall, she's known as the wild child. That says it all. She has to step out of Charles's suffocating shadow to breathe freely, which means inside the palace, she's suppressing herself every single day. Even more telling was Trooping the Color 2023. Instead of just enjoying the moment, Charlotte ended up telling her younger brother Louis to stop it. Think about that. She's 7 years old, yet already mimicking adult authority. Why? Because when you're raised in a rigid system that crushes your spontaneity, you try to claw back control any way you can. Her little stop it wasn't about Louis. It was about her own powerlessness. And who built this system? Charles, of course. The man who can't even show warmth to his own granddaughter but has no problem designing a monarchy where even children become props. He's the architect of this robotic structure, a world where spontaneity gets stamped out before kids even hit double digits. And Charlotte, poor Charlotte, is the one showing us the cracks in real time. And it doesn't stop there, because when Charlotte gets crushed under these rules, William doesn't just sit quietly. He notices, he reacts, and sometimes he absolutely loses it. William has always been different. He's pushed back against the stiffness, advocating mental health, breaking small protocols to give his kids some sense of normality. But when he sees his daughter suffocated by Charles's rigid ways, it hits a nerve deeper than anything else. Remember the Oprah fallout in 2021? Reports said William was so livid in the days leading up to the interview that he lost his appetite. Lost his appetite. That's not frustration, that's fury boiling from the inside. And that same protective streak shows up every time Charlotte becomes collateral damage in Charles's obsession with image. William's anger isn't random. It's the reaction of a dad who refuses to let his daughter grow up as a puppet. And the rehook here is brutal, because William doesn't just disagree with Charles, he's in an outright generational war with him. Charles wants props for his monarchy. William wants kids who grow up as humans. Those two visions don't match, and Charlotte is the battleground where it plays out. Every time she cracks under the pressure, William's resentment toward Charles only grows stronger. The public sees it too. Polls show that over 70% of Brits admire William and Catherine's resilience. 70%. That's not just approval, it's a landslide. People aren't siding with Charles's rigid legacy. They're siding with William's protective instincts. The modern protector dad versus the outdated, cold authority of Charles. It's almost too easy to pick a side. Charlotte's every glance tells the story. And if this is childhood under King Charles, then the future of the monarchy looks colder than ever.